What's up, guys? Charles Mabe here with what is going to be undoubtedly my last video of my 30s. That's right, I'm turning the big 4-0. I'm gonna be 40 here in a couple days, like 3 days. Think about that. I'm about to be 40 years old. It's crazy because I don't feel 40 years old, and I don't think I look 40 years old, but I'm not sure what 40 years old is supposed to look like. But I'm excited to see what happens, to see what my 40s bring. My 30s have been good to me. My career in photography is starting to kind of take off. Things are going in the right direction. So you know what? I'm not mad about it. I'm excited. Let's see where it takes us, you know? So this video, though, however, is going to relate to the topic of photography. People have been messaging me lately because they've been seeing my work and asking how I got into photography or how they can get into photography. Type of photography that I do is only typical, well, not only, but for the 90%, concerts and festivals. Why? Because I enjoy concerts and festivals. There's something to me about music that no matter what language you speak, even if you don't speak the language of the music being played, music can cross all boundaries. Music is one of those things that brings people together no matter what. And there's something about an energy of a show, a concert, a festival, whatever, where people are like all grooving together, everyone's happy, the artist is feeding off the audience is feeding off the artist, it just goes back and forth, and it's like, if you can capture that energy, there's just something about that that I really enjoy. So that's kind of where I'm coming from on that. So how do you get into it? Number one, shoot whatever you can. If you're just starting off, you don't expect to shoot the biggest artist right off the bat. You've got to just accept whatever you can take, and don't necessarily go out and be like, I'm going to charge money right away because I feel like I deserve it. You don't. True story, you don't deserve it at all because you've not shot anything yet. You wouldn't just go to a high-paying job and be like, hey, Google, I want to work for you now because I feel like I deserve it. They're not going to give you a job because you haven't proven yourself yet. So the number one thing is to shoot whatever you possibly can. Take any gig you can. Small bands, high school bands, your daughter's, cousins, sisters, quinceañera, whatever you can shoot, shoot it. So here's the thing, if you can shoot a shitty lighting situation in a crappy bar somewhere with dim lights and bad sound, and that's how I started off, if you can shoot that, in that, when you get a chance to shoot a big band, good lights, you're going to be able to capture anything. You're going to knock it out of the park 100% because you're used to shooting crap. You're used to dealing with the bare minimum. If someone gives you sticks and you got to build a house, you become an architect, you can build an amazing house. Kind of the same concept here. That's kind of stupid, but it's kind of the same concept. Number two, you're going to need a camera. You're going to need, if it's something that you're not sure that you're going to want to get into and just like, oh, I'm going to do it as a hobby, don't blow a bunch of money on like a $3,000 camera because if you're not going to use it, that's a waste of money. And the return you're going to get on it when you try to sell it, going to go downhill real fast. So get a decent camera, but don't get a crazy expensive camera. I started off with a Nikon 3500, 3300, 30-something, 3000-something, I don't know what it was. It was a not a full-frame camera, so it was cheaper, and it was something I was like, am I going to stick up with this? Am I going to keep doing this? I don't know. I liked it. I upgraded to a Nikon D750, which is like a mid-range, not completely professional, but it's pretty close. It's up there, and I love it, absolutely love it, and I can't say enough good things about it. And I thought about upgrading again, but I love this camera so much. Why even bother? You know, I get great shots with it. I don't need to. And number three, you're gonna need some lenses. You gotta pick one lens, right? So starting off, you're not gonna have a bunch of money to buy all the lenses. Like I have my three lenses I shoot concerts with are 14-24, 24-70, 7200. The 7200 I want to say costs around like $2,500. The 14-24 is around like $1,500. No, yeah, 14-24 is around $1,500, and the 24-70 is somewhere in that range as well. So you're looking at $5,000 in lenses. So like, let's say you got to pick one. What do you go with? Now this for me is a toss-up because the two lenses I use the most by far are the 24-70, which is a mid, and the 7200, which is a zoom. 7200 is awesome because you're so far back. Oh, all 2.8 or below. You're shooting far back, and you can zoom in. So maybe right off the bat, you don't get a good photo pass, or you just get like an access to bring your camera in, whatever it is, because it's a small band or whatever. You can be in the far back and zoom in real close, like you're right there in the front, and people are like, "Holy cow, how'd you get so close?" 7200, my friends. The 24 to 70 though is the perfect mid, and it's like you can zoom in just enough if you're close enough, but you can also pull back enough to get more of a wide angle kind of shot. Not complete wide, but semi-wide. I'm going to go with 24-70. I'm going 24-70. 7200, save your money. It's a more expensive lens. Once you're sure you want to go with it, fine, get it. 24-70, 2.8, going to get you great shots, wide enough shots, close enough shots. It's going to do really well for you. The next thing is after that is, and we can get all this later, but this is kind of just a quick little how I got into it, how the basics are. Learn to edit. Preferably, I use Photoshop. A lot of people use Lightroom. I feel like Lightroom is more of an app kind of thing, a lot of sliders, whatnot. Nothing wrong with it, both by the same company, Adobe. I just like Photoshop because it's super detailed, and I apply to my own editing when I do concerts, festivals. Jesus, there we go. I like to do very fine-tuning editing. I do a lot of fashion editing and apply that to my concert photos because it brings out the best in the photos, from what I believe. So I think that's a huge part of it, you know. And you gotta learn editing, because if you don't, you're not gonna stand out. Quite frankly, I'm sorry to say it, but it's true. A lot of people don't edit their photos that well, and they just kind of slide, whatever. Oh, fine. I'm not gonna stand out. You want to get ahead in the game? Edit. That's all there is to it. I don't care what anybody says. Edit. Weird, that motorcycle behind me just moved, and I didn't even touch it. That's scary. Ooh, got a ghost down here. That's bizarre. Anyway, there's a thing right behind. There's a motorcycle right behind me, and it's just moved its handles. Where was it going? Sorry about that. Yeah, so you gotta edit. You gotta edit, you know. And the other thing is, like, yeah, don't obviously try to charge right away. Work for free. And people are like, oh, well, at some point you start charging. Bullshit. Bullshit. Because you can charge, and if your photos suck, they're gonna be like, I paid for that, and they're gonna be pissed. They're not gonna get you again. If you're willing to do a free shoot, and they're like, oh my god, your photos are awesome, they're gonna invite you back, and they're like, hey, you know what? We're gonna pay you this time because you're doing such a great job. You're awesome, you know. So right off the bat, don't expect to make money, because it's hard to make money in this business. It really is. Quick little thing, how I got into it. I was always into photography. I went to school for film. So I've always liked photography for a long time. Went to school for film, didn't end up really using it, kind of did, then got out of it, hated it for a while. Had a basic camera, got married in Mexico. Someone stole my camera at my own wedding. So when I came back, I had to buy a new camera, and I was like, well, if I'm going to buy a new camera, let's upgrade and spend a little bit of money on this camera. So I did. We got our photos back from Mexico, from our wedding photographer. And apparently, little beknownst to us, that the wedding photographer had basically given the job to someone else who was an assistant, and then that assistant brought his wife, who didn't do photography at all. So, long story short, our wedding photos came out like crap. Some of the photos, the bridesmaid's hands were cut off. Like, one, she's holding up the flowers in the air and her hand's cut off, and another one, her hand was up in the air. Like, it was a mess. So I had to learn Photoshop and how to edit so I could fix my own wedding photos to have something that I could actually use. So I did that, and that's how I got into editing. Once I figured out, like, alright, I really love editing, and I really like photography, what if I can start shooting concerts? I got into some concerts, was able to start shooting, pretty much sucked, was not a very good photographer off the bat, my photos just weren't that great, I didn't really, I thought I knew how to edit, and I thought I knew how to shoot, but like anybody starting off, I got cocky, and I was like, oh, I can really shoot well, and I can really edit. And now I look back and I'm like, oh my god, what was I thinking? Some of my edits are crap. I did a lot of sliding in Photoshop with a lot of the sliders and whatnot. Like, oh, I'll just got a lot of clarity here and do this. And you know, no, I didn't put a lot of time and detail into my photos like I do now. And then once I finally got into that and I started like really taking my time, I started getting bigger gigs. I'm getting ready to shoot Greta Van Fleet here pretty soon. I've been shooting for Gorgon City. And people are starting to take notice now. Like, the publicist for Greta Van Fleet originally was like, oh, you know, I can't help you out, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, by the way, I'm Charles Mabe. She's like, oh, I'm familiar with your work. And I was like, boom. She's like, you know what? Here's a photo pass. You're good for that. So you got to take your time, and you got to really want it. But that's just a quick little how I got into it, what you're going to need. We can get a whole lot more detail later. It's almost my birthday, so I'm going to go out and have some fun right now. But yeah, I just want to give you a quick little, this is how I got into it, this is what we're doing. Please like and subscribe. For those of you that asked about it, here's some of your answers. We'll get into some more later. Love you guys, you're awesome, and talk to you later. Alright, bye.